So UFC London just took place yesterday. Not the best card. There were some redeeming qualities like the Mason Jones fight, but let's just get into it. I do not think that Evloev robbed Murphy. I thought, me personally, if you were watching the stream, I thought that it was going to be a majority draw. I thought maybe two judges were going to give it 47-47. Only one judge did. Okay, whoop-de-doo. It was close fight, close-ish. I mean, if that point wasn't deducted, it would have been Evloev unanimous decision. The point gets deducted because of the dick shot. Murphy has a big dick. You could see it protruding out of his cup. He's got a big Johnson, you know. Evloev kicked him twice in the nuts, but he was getting the takedowns towards the end. He was doing more damage. He landed that big overhand right that cut Murphy pretty bad, had him bleeding. Yeah, like just based on damage, Evloev's face, he only had like some slight bruising and swelling under his right eye, I believe. And then that was it. Murphy wasn't landing really any good shots. An occasional body kick here and there, and then that's it. Evloev won the fight. I can accept that. I thought it was a draw, whatever. It wasn't a robbery. It was not a robbery. People are saying it's a robbery. I'm looking at all these YouTube thumbnails from all these creators. Robbery? Question mark? Shut the fuck up. I mean, they're probably clickbaiting, but, you know, it's not a robbery. Evloev should fight Volkanovski next. Volkanovski already wants to fight Evloev, he says, for July or August. It's the fight to make. They better not give it to Gene Silva. Evloev is 20-0. He's undefeated. 10-fight win streak in the UFC. He doesn't have any finishes. That is bad. I'm not going to lie to you. I am not an Evloev defender. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to defend Epstein Evloev. But it's undeniable at this point. He's the number one contender. He's been the number one contender. Time to fight old man Volk. Prime Volkanovski obliterates and destroys Evloev. Prime Volkanovski does. Does an old man Volk, who's going to be even older now, does he do the same thing? Volk's still going to have that snappy jab. It's still going to be popping Evloev's head back. You know, it's still going to be there. He's still density maxed. He's going to be hard to take down. And he's going to be hard to keep down. But I don't know, man. Volkanovski's getting older. He's not the prime. Prime Volk outclasses and completely obliterates and finishes Diego Lopez. A prime Volkanovski, after suffering 2 back-to-back brutal knockouts, should not be taking Diego Lopez to decision in 2 fights. You know what I mean? Like, if this was the Volkanovski before he fought Makhachev the second time, he would be finishing all of these featherweights at this point, including Evloev. But I don't know about now. I don't know who to pick for this one. But it needs to happen. I do not want to see Gene Silva get the next title shot. And I'm kind of worried that he will, because Evloev kind of twisted the dagger a little bit in his post-fight speech, calling out the UFC right in front of their faces, calling out Hunter and Dana right in front of their faces, looking at them. We'll see. You know, Leon Edwards was a boring fighter. He only had like 1 finish in his 10-fight win streak, I believe. And it was a rear naked choke. And then they gave him the title shot against Usman for the rematch. And he head kicks Usman. So you never know. Just because Evloev doesn't have a finish doesn't mean he can't get one in the future. You just never know. But that's the fight to make. Featherweight Undisputed Championship. We move on to Luke Riley. Not super hyped up on Luke Riley. Couldn't finish as well. It is what it is. Good performance. I thought he won every single round. Like, you can feel the impact of his shots. He's still young. Don't rush him. I think the UFC, they're going to like move him similar to Patty's career. Give him favorable-ish matchups, not push him too far, too deep yet. You know, they're not going to push him in the deep end of the pool. So I'm thinking, who else is coming off a loss? You know, who else is kind of mid-ish, young? He's not young, but like, he looks young. He's got the Blasian baby face. Malcolm Wellmaker. Do that fight, you know? Malcolm Wellmaker's got a good right hook, a deadly right hook when it lands. Other than that, he doesn't have much. I think Stylistically, both these guys are going to be throwing. There's going to be a lot of damage thrown. Somebody's going to have to get knocked out in this one. You know what I mean? Just how good is fucking Ethan Ewing? And he's got a fight next week, I believe. So we'll see Ethan Ewing. But yeah, Luke Riley, great UFC debut against Bogdan Grad. Couldn't finish as well. He leaves his chin out in the open. And at featherweight, there's a lot of killers at featherweight. He's still young. There's time for him to improve. But, you know, the Darren Tills, Michael Bisping, you know, these English guys, they do get chinned. They get rocked. They get hurt. And he's going to be one of those guys eventually. Eventually, he's going to come up against a guy who knows how to swing and punish his bad footwork and his mistakes. And he's going to get dropped bad. Could Malcolm Wellmaker land a cheeky right hook? Possibly. It's possible. That's why I want to see it, though. So that's the matchup to make. We move on to the Welsh Dragon, a new orc in Sauron's army, Mason Jones. 3-fight win streak against Jeremy Stevens, Balaji Oki, and now Axel Sola. I was scared for picking Mason Jones against Axel Sola. And, you know, it was the toughest fight on the card to pick, for sure. And that fight proved why. As soon as Axel Sola landed that spinning elbow, I was like, oh, dude, it's over. No, the orc, the Vittori chin genetics have transferred over into Sauron's legions. And so now we've got Guskov, we've got Vittori, we've got Emmett. Okay, well, not Emmett. Emmett is, you know, Emmett isn't an Uruk-hai. He's just a little tiny fueling, you know. He's a Falmer. He's like a little goblin. But Mason Jones is a true orc. Who should he fight next at lightweight? Mateusz Rebecki. Mateusz Rebecki. I was thinking maybe Esteban Ribovic if he loses his next one. I was like, nah. Esteban Ribovic or Gamrot, that has to happen. Who knows what's going to happen in that fight? Gamrot, we don't know how good Ribovic's takedown defense and his grappling is. So we'll leave Ribovic to the side. Mateusz Rebecki, I know he's on a losing streak, and you could make the argument that Mason Jones being on a winning streak should be fighting someone up, but I don't think Mason Jones is top 5 ranked fighter material, you know. There's going to be a lot of elite guys at lightweight that beat up Mason Jones. Mauricio Rufy picks apart Mason Jones really badly. You know, so Rebecki, brawler versus brawler. The Welsh orc versus the Polish orc. Dude, Rebecki, he's got so much like scar tissue and damage on his face, but so does Mason Jones, who is going to live to the ripe age of 49. We shall find out in this next fight. We move on, though, to somebody who I want to be super hyped on, Iwo Baranevski. I want to be on the hype train, and I am kind of on the hype train, but it's a small train. It's not a fast bullet train just yet. We're still on a slow steam coal-powered train because we just don't know how good Iwo Baranevski is until he faces tougher competition. But 2 great back-to-back wins in the UFC. I like him so far. Destroys Austin Lane very predictably in 30 seconds. Who should he fight next? Light heavyweight is kind of shallow now. I was thinking like Julius Walker. No. Why waste time with Julius Walker? Why waste time with some of these other chinny dudes? There's no point. Because Iwo's just going to go out there and knock him out. And I know it's kind of obvious that the reason they put this fight in the main card is because they knew it was going to be a finish. They want finishes on the main card. And now, Iwo Baranevski is definitely on the UFC's good graces. The matchmakers, they're going to be looking out for Iwo Baranevski. It's not going to be like an MVP situation where it's like, okay, here you go, fight Pinky Patterson. No, they're going to give favorable matchups to Iwo Baranevski. He's on the Dana White privilege payroll now. They're probably going to do him like a Teba Gautier and feed him a bunch of cans for like the next year, and then they'll move him up against some ranked fighters, which, you know, whatever, I'm fine with it. It's not like Iwo Baranevski is running out of time. He's like 26, very, very young for a 205 guy. But if it was me personally, his next matchup, I'm thinking Alonzo Menafield. Both guys are similar height, similar build, 6 foot, very muscular. Menafield is coming off that brutal knockout against Volkan Oezdemir. You know, I don't think Menafield is ranked anymore. I think he used to be ranked 15. I think he's unranked now, so they're not moving him too far up. Ewo versus Alonzo should be a good scrap. It's definitely round 1 knockout material for sure. And, you know, Alonzo swings. Alonzo's not a high IQ fighter. You know, he's like Ebo Aslan. These guys aren't high IQ, but they do hit hard. They do have power when they swing. And Ewo apparently is a judo guy, which I didn't know, because all of his fights, even in the regional scenes, have all ended in the first round by finish. I think he does have 2 submissions early on, but we got to see, you know. Maybe Alonzo can swing on him and put him in the back foot, and he can do some panic takedowns, and we can see his ground game. But this guy, Wolfenstein Baranevsky, he's looking dangerous, dude. And he's got like a little baby face too. He's got that Polish baby face. I'm okay, not super hype train, but I'm going there. I'm going there. We'll see what his next fight is. We move on to the disgrace of the night. Michael Venom Page gets the dunce cap. He is a filthy dunce. Michael Page, I don't want to see him fight again. I was thinking, dude, like a year ago, I was thinking, oh, MVP versus Israel Adesanya. 2 long, lanky, slick strikers. These black guys that are so fast and great counterpunchers. You put them in the octagon together, they're going to have fireworks. Yeah, but then Izzy, you watch his fight with Cannonier, you watch his fight with Romero, nothing happens. If you put those 2 guys together, it would be the worst fight literally ever. Worse than Ngannou and Derek Lewis. Worse than MVP and Patterson. It would be, nothing would land. Even the leg kicks would all miss. There would be like 2 strikes in the whole fight. It would be terrible, even if it's a 5-rounder main event. It would be horrible. So, I can't think of anyone to put MVP. Honestly, cut him. Shameful performance. Are you there to fight or not? You can see why the UFC is mad at him. And they should be mad. Everybody should be mad. The crowd is booing them. Home field crowd booing both of their British fighters. I don't want to see MVP ever again. I'm thinking, okay, who's like a scary wrestler and grappler at 170 that they could sacrifice him to? There's not a lot besides Islam. You know, he's not going to get a title shot. So I was looking. Nicholas Dalby, he had a good grappling fight against a Dagestani dude last time. Isagakmaev. Saigid Isagakmaev. So, I mean, if the UFC really hates MVP, I guess they can do Dalby versus him. But Dalby got knocked out by Randy Brown, who's also a long, lanky, black guy striker, you know, type of fighter. So Dalby could get chinned. And I don't like the UFC rewarding a fighter like MVP. So just cut him. That's why I put the scissors. Cut MVP. There is nothing for him. Don't care. There's nothing else to say. We move on to Nathaniel Wood. I'm done doubting Nathaniel Wood. Close fight with Losine Chieda. He beats Losine Chieda. To be honest, I thought Losine Chieda kind of won it, but maybe I was watching a different fight. You know, Wood does have the home field advantage. He is the British fighter, right? And Chieda missed weight in his debut. So I'm not sad for Chieda. Fuck Chieda. Nathaniel Wood, I think he's on 5-fight win streak at featherweight. Who should he fight next? Ranked fighter. For sure, he needs a ranked fighter now. Somebody in like the bottom 10 to 15 range. I'm thinking David Onama. Yes, that is indeed David Onama. I'm sorry if you can't see him. I know he blends very well with the background color. No, I did not edit this image of him. That is his real skin color. He is really that black. Wood versus Onama, Britain versus Uganda. Uganda is a former British colony. There's history there. I remember I was talking about that they should do Arnold Allen versus David Onama a long time ago, because Arnold Allen is really pale and Onama is really dark. You know, a yin-yang matchup. They could do it in China. Just do it in China, you know. And Nathaniel Wood, he's growing on me. I did think Delgado beat him. Whatever. He's got the short... I love short featherweights. I don't like saying Ilia Topuria, because he's not Ilia Topuria. He doesn't have power, but he is fast. You can't deny that. He's very fast, very snappy. We'll see what happens to him. Decision merchant, you know? He knocks guys down and he hurts them, but he can't finish them. That's the big issue. That's what separates a guy like Wood and Ilia Topuria. The finishing potential just isn't there. Maybe he can finish Onama, because Onama doesn't strike me as a guy that has a strong chin. We move on to someone that has the strongest chin ever. Said no one ever. Austin Lane, yes, that, my friends, is indeed 6'6" Bilal underneath that clown hat and the clown nose. Austin Lane. Who should he fight next? Who does that to Austin Lane? I mean, Iwo Baranevsky, who would have ever predicted that fight like that in the first round? Nobody does that to Austin Lane. You might think that I would put the scissors icon next to Austin Lane, that he should be cut from the UFC. You, my friend, would be wrong. I have a matchup for Austin Lane. You know, he was at heavyweight, 6'6" dude, moves down to 205. Okay, well, I think 205 was the bad move. He should not be fighting at 205. Why not move down even further to 185? There's 6'6" middleweights. Yusri Belgouri's a 6'6" middleweight. He can make the weight cut. He can do it. I believe in Austin Lane that he can make 185. Who should he fight at 185? None other than RoboCop Rodriguez. Yes, dude, this is the matchup. Because let me tell you something. I think Austin Lane could beat Gregory Rodriguez in a fight. I think Austin Lane, I've said this many times before, he's got a sneaky hook kick. He threw that hook kick against Justin Tafa, and it was so close to landing, but oh my God, if it landed. If it landed, dude, championship caliber hook kick from Austin Lane. I think he could land it against Gregory Rodriguez. That is the fight to make. Do not ask any questions. And Gregory Rodriguez, he would love to take that fight. So Austin Lane versus RoboCop. Book it, Dana. Book it, Hunter. You know you want to. Don't cut Austin Lane. I'm sure he's got an extra fight or two on his contract. Do not cut this man. He deserves better. If not Gregory Rodriguez, then maybe if he stays at 205, book him up against Abdul Rahman Yakyayev. That's another winnable fight for Austin Lane. You know, Azamat Murzakanov, okay? No, okay, we move on to the last fight, the last matchup. Shemi Rock. Shemi Rock. Shamrock, man. I picked Shamrock. Dumb low IQ pick. I picked him based on the other guy not fighting for like 2 years. And the other guy kind of sucked, but Shamrock sucks even more. 2-fight losing streak for Shamrock at lightweight. You know who else has a 2-fight losing streak? You know who else, to my knowledge, has not been cut from the UFC? I follow the UFC roster watch on Twitter, and I did not see his name with a giant red X mark. He is still in the UFC. Shamrock versus the one, the only, the king of lions himself, Anshul Jubilee.
Why did you redeem it?
This is the fight to make. Like I said, both guys are 2-fight losing streak. I still believe in the Anshul Jubilee hype train. I still believe that this Hindutva Giga Bull can go out there and spark out Shamrock out cold. Great stylistic fight for both guys. You know, Anshul Jubli's footwork is just on a completely another level. I mean, he's great kata. Like, you could see the karate style there. You know, his kata is impeccable. He's going in, circling around, going in with these body shots. And, you know, I think that footwork originates from Jubli dodging rickshaws and cows in the crowded streets of Mumbai as a child. You know, you need good coordination and footwork to navigate those very crowded streets, to dodge the giant piles of cow shit on the road. Whereas Shamrock, I mean, look, you know, not the best performance against Kareem Al-Sawadi, but come on, man. You know, they signed probably like 3-4 fight contracts. He's still going to be in there. Don't cut him just yet. I know, you know, he kind of hit Kareem in the head at the end of the fight when the fight was over. Don't let Shamrock's bad behavior get him out of there. This is the fight that must happen. I speak for everyone because I want to see Anshul Jubli again. If Anshul Jubli is the first fight on the early prelims, I will be there to stream it. If you watch my streams, you know I don't stream the full card. I start like around the very last fight of the prelims, or like the first card in the main card, the first fight in the main card. But if Anshul Jubli is fighting in the early prelims, rest assured, I will be there streaming it, and I hope it happens. Where is Anshul Jubli? They cut Yanal Ashmouz, but they haven't cut Anshul Jubli. Those are my matchups. Like the video if you agree with my reasoning. Evloev did not rob Murphy. Do not be typing that in my chat. Do not be typing that in the comments. He did not rob Murphy. It should have been a draw, but it wasn't a robbery. People throw that word robbery way too often. Okay, we've seen robberies before. Cyril Gahn versus Volkov 2 was a robbery. Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon was a robbery. You know, that one retard judge that gave it to Tuivasa against Rosenstrike was close to being a robbery if another judge agreed with that dumbass. Those are robberies. This was a close fight. And if it wasn't for that nut shot, Evloev would have won unanimous decision. So it would have been 49-46, by the way. 49-46 unanimous decision, except for that point deduction. That's all I got for the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, motherfuckers.